They'd been an item since that night, although neither was ready to use the word couple. Because the Bureau discouraged dating between agents in the same section, particularly teammates, Cobb told only his older brother. Luna confided in no one and wasn't sure if their thing had an expiration date. But however undefined their relationship, they enjoyed it and wanted to see where it took them. On the morning of President Fusillo's Zuccotti Park speech, the two jumped out of bed and dressed in a hurry. With the president in town, they were reporting to the downtown Manhattan heliport. Little Lulu was one of 5 whirlybirds CIRG kept on station there, the others being a pair of Blackhawks, a Bell Huey, and a Sikorsky S-92 search and rescue chopper, and they had to be ready for deployment at a moment's notice. The agents had no reason to think it would be necessary. In New York, as in most major cities, any visit from a high-profile dignitary triggered an elevated security alert, and it was raised to a maximum when the dignitary was POTUS. Putting the SAS's local task force on standby was standard procedure, and Luna and Cobb had been through the drill several times without going airborne. Still, they took nothing for granted. They were a hyper-elite team and conducted themselves like one. When called upon to report early, they showed up earlier than early. Their selection as Lubird's exclusive flyers did not come on a whim. The tiny ovoid chopper needed to be handled with care. Her stealth modifications were shared by a small fleet of CIA and military aircraft, but she alone carried an integrated multiple biometric high-definition surveillance and targeting suite, or MBHD-ST. Before training in the black tech's use, or even learning of its existence, the agents had required sensitive compartmented information clearances that rose above and beyond the top-secret clearance required of all FBI personnel. Luna and Cobb were proud to crew the prototypical aircraft, considering it a mark of honor, the best entrusted to the best. They flew countless training runs to stay sharp, but knew that if they ever took her out in an operational role, it would mean they were dealing with a crisis of the gravest order. Luna got the radio call from Chief Hardin at CIRG's Washington office, where the power had not yet so much as flickered. Along with other FBI pilots waiting in reserve, they had intermittently left their lounge at the terminal to stand with the police teams looking upriver at the burning helicopter suspended from the bridge. Because the chopper was based in Midtown, the Bureau flyers weren't certain they were acquainted with its crew. But that made no difference as they joined in prayer with the NYPD boys. Hardin's instructions to Luna were terse. She and Cobb were to launch immediately and place themselves at the disposal of New York Cyber, who would apprise them of their specific mission over the ComNet. Lou Bird was in her circle on the pier. Luna's higher score in situational adaptivity tests had earned her the pilot seat, and Cobb was comfortable with sidekicking, secure in his ability to execute her orders with precision. In the cockpit, they donned their lightweight HUD helmets, ran through the checks, and got Lulu warming. With the wind blowing up in a northerly direction, the smoke from the NYPD helicopter wasn't too bad. But their FLIR guidance systems would allow them to cruise through black ink. The Bird was ready in 3 minutes. Outside on the rubber, the rest of the pilots watched. Grabbing the cyclic, Luna reached a hand out to Cobb, keeping it low between their seats so no one outside would see. "You ready, sugar?" she said. "Let's do this," he said, giving her fingers a discreet squeeze before takeoff. 2. Sweaty and winded, Leo Harris stood on Broadway opposite St. Paul's Chapel, watching a river of humanity being channeled uptown toward a series of evac points. Leo saw no end to the masses, and was looking at sheer mayhem up past City Hall Park, where thousands of people at the barricades were trickling through. He pushed and weaved his way up the street. Blue Suit was gone. He could have easily melted into the crowd, disappeared. So what now? Harris tried to figure out his next move. After inputting Blue Suit's ID photo to the NGI database, he had ordered face scans of anyone at the checkpoints that generally matched his description, knowing that 9 out of 10 businessmen from the office buildings down here would fit the general mold. Also, the regular cops at those posts would have serious manpower issues trying to carry out his order. They weren't equipped with sat phones or satellite-linked readers that would work with the terrestrial cell net out of commission, leaving the spot scans to a relative handful of FBI and NYPD special operations personnel and adding to log jams at the checkpoints. The odds of actually catching his man weren't good. He was standing flat-footed, pulling together his thoughts, when he heard the chop of helicopter rotors overhead. Lulu, he thought, squinting up into the sky. The stealthy little copter's egg-like shape and fainter-than-normal noise profile would have been distinctive, even if she wasn't the only aircraft cleared for flight. One hand shielding his eyes, he opened the assigned channel on his two-way and identified himself. "Roger, sir, we've expected your contact." a female voice replied. "This is Agent Luna." "Agent, did you upload that badge photo I found into your onboard?"